Hello, Gabe Heller here, Hohenzollern on YouTube and Hannah Brown Couch on Twitch, and we're back to doing something with the ATARI VCS. We're going to install SteamOS on it, but better this time. It's HoloISO. I'm never going to make the second part of the video on how to get the old SteamOS to work, because this'll supplant that. It took a couple of years for me to get to the point where this was possible, but it's possible now, and so I'm doing it. I'm going to definitely be using this DVD drive, DVD RW drive. I find it invaluable, and I just cannot get jump drives to just work the way that bootable jump drives just work the way this does. There's always something that makes it harder, and you need a special piece of software or one thing or another, and also it's very kind of picky about what it boots from. And I've had some drives that will boot any other machine, not really boot on the ATARI VCS. So I'm going to be using this. So the first thing you need to do is burn the installation CD for HoloISO, which we will find via Google quite easily by just typing in HoloISO. And there it is. I think there was a better link than that to click on. Releases. There we go. Somewhere here is the download link. There we go, download. I got the offline installer, this one here. I've already downloaded it though. You can see it right there. And then if we go into the directory, there it is, and I simply right click on it. And I'm going to burn it with image burn, but there are other ways to burn it too. Chances are your operating system has a way to burn it and will allow you to do so. So that made me this disk here. Here it is. 2.7 gigabytes. It fits on a standard DVD. And now we just hook this DVD drive up to the ATARI VCS, like so. There we go. And you'll need a drive to install it on. I'm using a 64 gigabyte SanDisk drive. I think it ought to work with a 32 gigabyte drive, but I haven't quite gotten it to work. The first time I actually got it to work was with this drive. So, yeah, take your chances if you use anything smaller. But, I mean, to be fair, if you're installing SteamOS, you're going to want to have room for some games and things. So even games that run well on a machine 2 years old and not top of the line for being 2 years old are still going to be pretty big games, and you're going to want to have room for them. So you're probably going to want a bigger drive than this. But I'm making do with a 64 gig for the purposes of this video. Okay. I'm going to swap the capture over to this so you can see what I see on that screen in better quality. All right. And we turn it on. Okay, so we want to press escape to get into the boot menu, because otherwise it won't boot this. Here we are. We hit the arrow down there to get to the boot manager. And we want to go down to EFI USB device and the name of the DVD RW, which is an ASUS SDRW in my case. There we are. Okay, so we have many choices here, and we're going to choose the HoloISO installer. I do not choose the installer copy to RAM. I tried that, and not only was it slower, but it didn't work for me. Now, I've made some changes in my process since then, so it may work for you. I understand the reason for wanting to copy the entire contents of the DVD drive to RAM. It ought to make things faster, but frankly, this particular DVD image is pretty well optimized for installation. Newer ones that are coming out these days, they just don't bother because they figure you're going to use a USB drive. But this one, it reads pretty fast. I haven't had any trouble with it. I really wish this monitor would work. I don't know why it's not working. There we go. Must just have been loose. Now I can see in real time what's going on.
Part of the reason it's not faster at all to load things into memory is that you end up waiting for jobs to fail, and you're going to wait just as long, regardless of whether you're running from memory or from the DVD drive. Also, there's just such a minimal amount of seeking during the install process. I have to think that the order of files in this DVD image was optimized for installation in such a way that a lot of images are not being optimized anymore. All right, here we are. Go here. This is how you'll do this. Install SteamOS on this ... That's what you want to use. Double click on that. It'll ask you to choose the installation type. You want to install HoloISO version snapshot, that one, rather than exit the installer. Wow, it's doing some weird stuff there, but that's because it thinks this is a Steam Deck. While we're waiting for it to install, I will explain a few things that are important. And the disk we want is the SanDisk Cruiser Glide here, STA. So STA is what we select. And we're going to want to erase the entire drive, so make sure that you have a drive that you're willing to erase the entire drive on. It does say you can install alongside existing OS or partition, but it requires 50 gigabytes of free space. That's part of the reason I think maybe you actually do need a 64 gig drive, but again, I think it would work with a 32 gig drive. I just haven't gotten it to work myself. Okay, then you need to type in a password that you will use to log in as root if you ever need to. Very nice of it to do this for us. If you remember the last SteamOS install video, there was a password, and then there was very little way of knowing what it is. For some reason, the password dialogs don't let you hit enter, so you have to click OK. You make yourself a username. You can hit enter, but then more passwords. And again, you have to click OK. And it's warning me that all data on the drive will be lost. You say yes. Okay, so now things are going to happen, and while things are happening, I'm going to mention a few things that are important. So the thing is that there were like 5 or 6 things that I was required to do in order to make this work. And you may be tempted to cut some corners here or there, but it might not work if you do. So the first one was don't try and load the installer into memory. The second one is don't retry an installation if it's failed unless you've rebooted clean from the DVD. I had an installation that should by all means have worked, but it didn't. And after that, it worked. That was the last thing I changed, was rebooting again from the DVD drive. So, and important, if you get a failed installation, make sure you reboot from the DVD drive before you try again. Make sure the drive is empty first. I also had an installation that failed because the drive was not empty, and this confused Grub when it was trying to update the bootloader, and it said that there was no bootloader and wouldn't boot. So make sure that the drive is completely empty. Use diskpart in Windows, for instance, and clean the drive. Make sure you clean that drive and not any of the other drives, because it completely erases the drive. I mean, the data is still there, but it writes over all the parts that allow it to know where the data is. So yeah. Make sure that the drive is empty. Then also be sure you're connected to the internet while you're installing. You'll notice if I go and check on the Wi-Fi here are networks. No, there are Wi-Fis. I try and connect to my local Wi-Fi. It's worked in this case, but in other cases, I've had it just kind of sit there. Yeah, no, okay, we're fine now. But I've had it just sit there and not be connected. So there is definitely a chance that that will happen to you. And in order to be prepared for that, I would suggest using a wired connection.
Which I have here. This yellow cable is my wired connection, and I am actually sharing the Wi-Fi from my laptop via its Ethernet jack to the Atari VCS. So yeah, make sure you're connected to the internet, it makes no sense because it's supposed to be an offline-only installation, but it still tries to access the internet. And I was not able to get the install to work without having internet access, despite it being an offline-only install. So that's another, bugaboo there. It's possible that, now that I've fixed some other problems, it would be okay to install it without the internet, but you're going to want to update it eventually anyway. You're going to want to play games and download games from the internet. You want to make sure the internet's working. Now, I was able to get the Wi-Fi working regularly once the install was finished, but that was after several updates that it had to download from the internet. So I would suggest having an internet wire.
Well, the other thing is that even though it says that it's copying everything to RAM, it still accesses the DVD drive if you leave it plugged in. Now, maybe it's just checking to see if there is a drive there. It's like saying, just pinging it, say, hello, got a disk in you? What's that disk? Kind of thing. It never tells you, now you can disconnect the DVD drive. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention, I apologize. The last SteamOS video that I made for installing it on the Atari VCS, I had access to a spacious office. And I came in at night so I could use all the desks that weren't in use, and I could spread myself out, and I had lots of room, and so the shots weren't full of wires, and there was plenty of light. And so you could see everything really nice. I've done my best to light up the man cave, cheese cave as best I can for this video. But frankly, I wasn't expecting to be making a video like this. I wasn't expecting that I would do much more with the Atari VCS other than emulate old Atari 8-bit computers. But turns out that this is one of the best things you can do with it. I can't say it's the best machine for installing SteamOS on, but installing SteamOS on it is probably the best thing you can do for your Atari VCS. It really turns it into an actual usable console. When I initially saw this, I was worried that all of these things that involved HoloISO, like HoloISO stable and stuff, seemed to not exist. But it's still installed fine. Also, the missing firmware doesn't seem to make any difference. It can still access the wireless and the Bluetooth fine, and I will demonstrate that once I've got the installation done. I should also mention that this video was inspired by a video by the Linux Experiment where he built a custom PC. Most of it was off the shelf, but he did some custom installation in it and tried to make a console-like SteamOS thing. So the full credit to him for letting me know that this could be done. And the fact that he got it working with, hey, installation finished. You may reboot now or type arch-root-ment to make further changes. I'm going to reboot now. Now, just remember, you have to hit escape every time, unless you find some way to get around it. But as far as I know, if you want to be booting off an external device so you don't mess up the operating system that came with the Atari VCS, then you need to hit escape every time. I don't think it reboots for you. I think you still have to do that. Yes. Do restart. Okay. Okay, and at this point I am hitting escape. There we go. And at this point it is safe to unplug the DVD drive. We go to Boot Manager, and we choose, it's still showing us that. And we don't choose SanDisk under Legacy USB. That does not boot properly. You have to choose EFI USB device SanDisk. All right, we are selecting our operating system, and the default works fine. You don't need to load HoloISO. That was one thing that the Linux Experiment guy had to do. He had to run HoloISO in order for it to support his Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi, but you don't on the Atari VCS. They are supported out of the box. Now, unfortunately, the fact that you have to press escape in order to boot off of a jump drive means that you will not be able to run it on the Atari VCS without a keyboard hooked up. You just won't be able to boot into the OS. So that's unfortunate. It may look like it's not doing much, but trust me, it is working very hard. One disadvantage to the SanDisk drive is that it doesn't have an indicator light, so you don't know when it's doing stuff. The fans have spun up. Here we go. Oh no, I thought it was at 720p. Apparently it is scaled up, so let's fix that. Okay, now you can see the whole screen. And now is the point where I should hook up a controller.
So I have here a controller. This is an off-brand PS3 controller. I'm going to hook it up right where I unplugged the DVD drive. Yes. Simply hit the P3 button on this Voyee controller, or the PS button on your PS3 controller, if that's what you're using, and I can select my language, but it was already correct. English. Yay! And I am in Central Standard Time. So let's see if the Wi-Fi is working. Yes, the Wi-Fi is working. And it brought something up really fast. And now it's shutting itself down. I think this means that it's going to reboot with some updates. And so we select, again, the EFI USB device. And we can just wait for the default. Oh, I'm going to put on the headphones so I can hear the noise that it makes. Hopefully, capture device is capturing it as well, because this monitor supports sound through HDMI, which some monitors do not.
So the other thing I hadn't mentioned yet is that I'm in the basement with a big thick floor between me and the Wi-Fi access point, so that's one reason why I also want to use a wired connection for this. even at this point. But if you have Wi-Fi, at this point it's probably working for you. All right, time for me to sign in. Look away while I type in my username and password. I think I remembered it right, but now I need to check my email. There it is. Now just to show, you can enter it with the controller. Just hold down left trigger, I believe, to get cap lock. Shift? Weird. It's not working this time. Maybe it's not quite set up fully yet. Oh, there we go. We can set caps. Ta-da! GG! Welcome to Steam Deck. Yay! There's a little tutorial here. Of course, none of this applies to me because this isn't actually a Steam Deck. Have fun! What's a good one to try? Bastion? Shadwin? Not the robots. Let's try Shadwin. Oh, it says it does not work. Never mind. Those little things in the corner tell you stuff about them. Let's go with Bastion, sure. Let me make sure there isn't something that's a little better. Indicative of a game that came out in, say, 2021 when this console was new. Maybe Scrap Garden? Says it works. Let's try Scrap Garden. So this is a problem I ran into. You'll notice that it didn't really install. Then if you try and play, it doesn't really play. Okay, so here's how you solve that problem. If you hit the menu button, the one in the middle, you can go to Settings. And you will notice under System, there's an exclamation point for software updates. And you'll definitely need the June 21st one. I don't think you'll need any ones more recent than that as of today, but you might find you do in the future. And without that update, I couldn't get it to launch any games. So let's install the update. Oops, what did I just do? I don't know what I did. I think I rated it up. I was trying to apply it. I was in the wrong place. Okay, and then we need to restart, which means getting ready to press escape. There we go. Boot manager. EFI USB device. When I initially did this, I had to log into my Steam account again after this update. We'll see if that happens this time. Oh, yep, I have to sign in again. Alrighty, let's try Scrap Garden again and see if it works this time. How do I get the keyboard to go? There we go. Enter apparently does it. Hey, and now it's actually downloading and installing the game. Now, if we were to just run the game as is, there's something that you might want to know about, which is that currently it's running at 720p. It may be upscaled to 1080p, but it's running natively at 720. So Settings, Properties, there we go, and under General, instead of default resolution, you can select 1920 by 1080 or 4K if you think that you'll get a decent frame rate at 4K with an ATARI VCS from 2021. And I'm not sure you will. There's also a link, which I will also put in my description, that the Linux Experiment put in his description of his video. He had problems with his AMD graphics chip staying in power saving mode. There's a way around that. If you discover that that's a problem for performance for you on the ATARI VCS, that fix will probably work for you as well. So far, I've been getting okay performance. I'm not sure what I really should be expecting from a 2-year-old console that was not top of the line to begin with. Can we see how old Scrap Garden is? Wow, there's no information at all. They want to know if they can ask me for feedback. I'm going to say yes. So far, all they've asked me is, like, did this game work? I'm willing to give them that information. Oh, we should check and see if the Wi-Fi is currently working. Now, you'll notice that in system, there's another update listed here. I have not been able to get this update to go away. The Steam Deck Beta Client Update, July 29th. I've installed this 18 times, and it still wants me to install it again. So I wouldn't bother with this one. Maybe when another one comes out, but especially since we're not using beta anyway. Clotho seems to be working. It's got a check mark. Yes, connected. Cool. Switches to gigabytes at 1.01. Interesting. How does his bulbous hand work? I can't think he can grab anything with those fingers. Maybe we'll discover. Hey, we can play it now. Compatibility tool failed. Oh no, it said it worked. Oh, I should also show you that Bluetooth works.
So, we have here a controller that is capable of doing Bluetooth. Currently it is hooked up via wire. But if we go to Settings, and Hello Cat, and to Bluetooth, there we go. We turn it on. It isn't on by default. Let's show all devices, sure. It's a Shenwan PS3 gamepad. Okay, I'm unplugging it, pressing the button. I may have to press the button more than once. There we go. It is paired now. No cables attached, and Bluetooth is working. Cool. But we need to find another game, because this game does not work.
Pac-Man Champion Edition 2. Sure. 2 gigabytes. Okay, except the EULA. It's bigger than Scrap Garden. Oh, no, it isn't. Sometimes it overestimates the amount of space it actually needs to download. I think maybe it's streaming some of the files from the internet. I don't know. But this should be a good game to play with a controller, unlike Don't Starve, which I would never want to try and play with a controller. So one thing about the Bluetooth controllers is that if this controller goes to sleep, I have to repair it. But that's just this particular controller. There are many Bluetooth controllers out there. Some of them may work better with the ATARI VCS. This is just what I happen to have. We use this for the PS3, which is still our media playing console. But this may become our new media playing console if I can find, for instance, a YouTube app for it. Or maybe I'll just have to go to desktop mode. But an app would be nice. If I can do it all from the controller, that would be very nice. I should change the settings. You know, I suppose it's possible that the other one did not like my change to the resolution. So let me just quickly Set scrap garden back to 720p and see if that helps. Nope, compatibility tool failed again. All right, let's try this one. What? Oh no. Why is the compatibility tool failing? I'm going to download. Oh, that's the June 21st one again. Why is it saying it needs to do that one again? Well, I guess we do that one again. Let's see if that fixes it. Okay, let's try again. Well, I've not been stuck at the screen before, but this is further than we got last time, so maybe the compatibility tool is working now. That was a very quick message that I did not see. Hey, we're in the game. Alrighty. Tutorial, sure. Fruit will appear when the gauge is full. Even if you don't eat all the pack dots, you move on to the next maze once you eat the fruit to clear the stage. Okay. Eat that to fill the... Okay. Here we go. No ghosts yet, huh? This really is a tutorial. Okay. Hey, we did the things. Ah, now there are ghosts. Oh, you touch the ghost to make it angry? Weird. But then an angry ghost kills you. Okay, that's new. Oh, that wasn't where I wanted to go. That was really close. Okay, I failed. Oh, I had to touch the ghost and die to the ghost in order to do the thing. Okay, this is... I see. Okay. I'm supposed to lose a life? Weird. Okay. All right, you. And I lost a life. Okay, now we know. We've done the thing. Now we clear the stage. What a weird game. Okay, let's try some of these other games now that the compatibility layer is working. How do I get out of here? Be back. Back. There we go. Quick game. I thought it was actually in the process of ending the game, but no. It was waiting for me to say that it was okay for it to end the game. Vulkan shaders, yeah. See, I was hoping that this would involve some actual 3D rendering that might slow things down if it turns out we need the AMD fix, but I don't think we're going to need the AMD fix. English, select. Yeah, I think this is running at 720p upscaled. Here we are. We're getting frames. Vulkan rendering is happening and at a decent frame rate. Oh no, that's a shadow. Okay. I would have thought the shadows would be safer. Oh, no, I see. I have some kind of a solar panel going on here. So yeah, if we go to settings here, it just says full screen, yes. Interesting. Graphics. Ooh. We still get good on Ultra? Let's find out. Yep, Ultra still gives good performance. Yay! A game that we can play. It's slightly widescreen, weird. Let me see what happens if I set the settings back to 1080p. And then I think we're done with this video for today.
Just to let you know, this video is over soon. So rub your eyes and stretch your thighs and sing in tune. It's time to find another kind of video, for this one is nearly done, you know.
Oh yes, much cleaner. Cool. Can I run? As fast as I can move? Oh no. Return the generator. The generator? Is that a generator? This could be a generator? This is an AC unit. None of the buttons seem to do much. Is this like a vacuum? Or a waste bin? There's a lot of waste bins here. Oh, I see. We've got things to collect. What's that? Grass. Ah, I did a thing. Ah, okay, the generator was there. Cool. Now I can walk faster and be in the shadows. Ah, nice. Can I go upstairs? Ah, I can walk upstairs. I'm not very good at it yet, but I can walk upstairs. Yay. I can jump. All right. Bye for now.